Imagine this. A police officer pulls over a sleek, black car, thinking it's stolen, only to find out seconds later that the woman behind the wheel is a respected judge. But it doesn't stop there. He accuses her, tries to detain her, and what happens next? She reveals her identity and completely flips the script, ending his career in an instant. Want to know how this went down and why it left the whole city talking? Stick around because this story is more than just a shocking confrontation. It's a lesson in power, justice, and accountability. If you're part of the Black Visionaries family, hit that like button right now and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories like this one. It was a bright, bustling morning in the city. The streets were filled with the usual mix of commuters, business people rushing to work, and the occasional person enjoying a quiet walk. But on this particular day, one moment would change everything. A routine traffic stop would lead to a confrontation that no one saw coming, and in a matter of seconds, a career would be ended. On the corner of Fifth Avenue and Maple Street, a police officer was finishing his routine patrol. Officer John Dawson, a man in his early 40s with a reputation for being strict but fair, was doing what he always did, keeping an eye out for any suspicious behavior, enforcing the law. He was about to make a routine traffic stop. The car in question? A sleek, black sedan with tinted windows. As Dawson pulled up behind the vehicle, he didn't think twice. After all, the city had seen its fair share of stolen vehicles, and his instincts told him something was off. Dawson switched on his sirens and pulled the vehicle over to the side. As the car came to a stop, he approached cautiously. He was trained to always be on alert, especially with the rise in stolen cars in the area. He had no idea this was going to be one of the most critical moments of his life. Inside the vehicle, behind the wheel, was a woman, an African-American woman in her early 30s, sitting with confidence. Her name was Judge Rachel Johnson, a respected and powerful judge who had served the community with integrity for over 5 years. Dawson, unaware of her identity, didn't see her as a person but as a potential suspect. The window rolled down slowly. The window rolled down slowly. The woman looked up, meeting Dawson's eyes with a calm but firm gaze. "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Officer Dawson asked, his hand resting on his holstered weapon. Judge Johnson, not showing any signs of anxiety, replied coolly, "I'm not sure, officer, but I'm happy to cooperate." But Dawson wasn't interested in cooperation, not yet. "I need to confirm if this car has been reported stolen," he said, his voice stiff. It was a routine procedure, one he'd done hundreds of times. But there was something about this stop that didn't sit right. Officer Dawson ran the car's registration through his system, waiting for the results to pop up on his screen. But when the words "stolen vehicle" appeared, his mind went into overdrive. His training told him to act quickly, and with the situation appearing increasingly suspicious, he made a snap judgment. "You're driving a stolen vehicle, ma'am," Dawson said, his voice sharper now. Judge Johnson blinked, clearly surprised. "What? That's not possible. I'm the owner of this car." Dawson ignored her protest and stepped back, readying to detain her. The officers in his precinct had seen enough stolen cars over the years to know the signs. He wasn't about to let a potential criminal slip away. "Step out of the car, ma'am." "You're being detained," Dawson demanded. But Judge Johnson didn't flinch. Instead, she sat back in her seat, crossing her arms calmly. "I'm a judge, officer," she said, her voice steady but firm. "I'm telling you, this car is mine." Dawson, however, had already made up his mind. He wasn't going to let a suspected criminal, especially one driving a stolen car, talk him out of taking action. His training kicked in, and before he knew it, he was reaching for his handcuffs. The tension in the air thickened. The crowd that had gathered on the sidewalk started murmuring. A few bystanders even had their phones out, recording the interaction, unsure of what was unfolding. Dawson noticed the phones but paid them no mind. He was focused on his duty. But then, everything changed in an instant. As Dawson began to reach for her arm, Judge Johnson remained composed. "I'm not resisting, officer. But before you do anything further, I need you to listen to me carefully." Dawson hesitated for a brief moment, not fully trusting her. But then, in the blink of an eye, She reached into her purse and pulled out a badge, a judge's badge. I am Judge Rachel Johnson. I have been serving in this city for the past 5 years. This is my car, and it is not stolen. I can show you my registration ID. The words, "I'm a judge," hit Dawson like a ton of bricks. His jaw tightened, and for the first time, doubt began to creep into his mind. But he was already in too deep. He had accused her of stealing the car in front of a growing crowd, and he couldn't back down now. Still, Judge Johnson wasn't finished. With a calm but commanding voice, she added, "I don't think you want to make this mistake, officer. I suggest you take a step back and reconsider your actions." Dawson stood there, frozen. His mind raced. The crowd was growing louder now, murmuring in disbelief. Some were even asking what kind of mistake the officer was making, while others were simply filming the incident, no doubt aware of the power dynamics at play. As Judge Johnson continued to display her badge and provide her ID, the realization hit him hard. He had made a monumental error. He wasn't just confronting a random citizen, he had just accused a prominent figure in the city of a crime she didn't commit. It didn't take long for the situation to escalate in the media. The video of the confrontation quickly went viral, spreading across social media. People were outraged. How could a seasoned officer like Dawson make such an obvious mistake, especially with someone as prominent as Judge Johnson? The public outrage was palpable. The incident raised questions about racial profiling and the treatment of Black professionals in positions of power. The fact that an officer could mistakenly accuse a judge, someone with authority, was a clear sign that something needed to change. Dawson's department was swift to act. Within hours, the news reached his superiors. An internal investigation was launched into his conduct. The department needed to get to the bottom of the mistake and figure out how to address the officer's lapse in judgment. It wasn't long before Dawson was placed on administrative leave. The consequences were swift, and they would be severe. His career was hanging by a thread. As more details of the confrontation emerged, Dawson found himself at the center of a growing storm. The public's perception of him, once a reliable officer, was now tarnished. His previous commendations and years of service seemed meaningless in the face of such a public misstep. Meanwhile, Judge Johnson stood strong. She addressed the media, but in a calm, measured manner. She wasn't interested in seeking revenge. Instead, she made it clear that this wasn't just about her. This was about holding people accountable for their actions and ensuring that law enforcement treated all citizens fairly, regardless of their background or profession. Dawson's career came to a swift and bitter end. After the internal investigation and mounting public pressure, he was officially dismissed from the police force. The department cited his lack of professionalism and failure to properly assess the situation before escalating the incident. Judge Johnson, while not seeking vengeance, was clear in her stance.
She knew that the officer's actions had hurt the trust between the police and the community, and something had to change. The incident sparked conversations about race, power, and accountability, conversations that needed to be had.
In the months that followed, the city began implementing new training programs for law enforcement, focusing on cultural competency and de-escalation tactics. The incident served as a wake-up call for both the police department and the community. Judge Johnson, meanwhile, continued to serve with the same dedication and professionalism that had earned her respect in the first place.
She became a symbol of justice, not just in the courtroom, but also in the public eye. What started as a routine traffic stop became a pivotal moment in the ongoing conversation about race, authority, and justice. In just seconds, a career was destroyed, and a career was destroyed to reckon with its biases.
The story of Judge Rachel Johnson and Officer John Dawson will be remembered for a long time, not for the mistakes made, but for the lessons learned. You won't believe what just happened. If you're part of the Black Visionaries family, hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories like this one. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this with friends, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an update. Stay tuned, more surprises are coming.